Okay, since we're dealing with uncertain times here, let's try and tackle a what if that has been, for me, a rather uncertain one. Hey guys, MasakoX here. Now, this seems a little unusual, right? A what if on a Monday? I know, it's very surprising, right? Well, it's all to do with the fact that a long time ago, probably even longer than most what ifs were a thing here, I tried to deal with the question concerning Vegeta. Despite the prince being quite grateful that Goku was there on Namek as a Super Saiyan to take on Frieza, he was still feeling pretty low for missing out on becoming that supposed legendary Super Saiyan incarnate. But that being said, it would ultimately turn out to be wrong for both of them because of Mr. Borley in movie 8. He's the legendary Super Saiyan because he's green. In any case, we still want to take on this idea that instead of Goku being the first Super Saiyan, it would be Vegeta. What if he was the first Super Saiyan instead? Now, I wouldn't blame you for going, what? This what if was a thing? Oh, so that's what people have been saying in the comments for so many years. Yeah, that's the one. A lot of you probably don't remember this what if at all. And to be fair, when I was looking back through the previous episodes, it was so old that I wasn't even living here. It was that long ago, about 2 years. I'm so sorry. The reason why I've been leaving this alone and it's now become somewhat of a meme here is because I really couldn't think of anything good for it and I didn't want to come up with something half-baked for you guys. You don't deserve that. And what didn't help is that we had 2 what ifs that were slowly becoming similar, like what if Frieza saw Vegeta's potential and what if Vegeta never turned good? But now, I think I've got something. In this scenario, instead of being trounced by final form Frieza, always, Vegeta managed to get that last heal on Dende after all. Little Green still bit the dust though. Sad times. As a result, Vegeta managed to gain the Super Saiyan power, as well as buy some time for himself to at least give this 4th form of his former boss some kind of a challenge. And a challenge is exactly what he gave him. Now, according to my original calculations in the first part, a Super Saiyan Vegeta on Namek would have been just stronger than a 100% Frieza. Sadly enough, he still allows Frieza to power up, not trying to get the jump on a 50% power thing. All because he finds out that Frieza had that power in reserve. Typical Saiyans, eh? You thought it was just a Goku thing, but no. In fact, Vegeta was the one that even allowed Frieza to transform. Yeah, gave him the idea. It was like, I know that you can transform, Frieza, just do it. So, yeah, Vegeta, just don't let him say anything in the heat of battle. From there, Vegeta went on to Yardrat and left the Dragon team pondering about what exactly just happened. Right after they got out of dodge, of course, with Namek exploding and all. I mean, that still happened. A rarity in most of our what-ifs these days, actually. Vegeta then goes on to take on King Cold after receiving Pibara's training. Now, back then, we didn't know about Pibara, but now we would have known he got spirit control powers as well as instant transmission. I know you guys don't like how some of my what-ifs tend to have Vegeta either be offed or in the background through his own volition. Well, here, no. He is the alpha dog, plain and simple. In the last part, Vegeta got his first taste of humility in his new power when Perfect Cell still showed him the meaning of the word. In that moment of vulnerability, Goku and Gohan seized the moment and almost caught up to Vegeta in terms of power and thusly acquired the power of Super Saiyan for themselves and really angering the prince, who thought he was the only one that could ever wield this power worthily in this generation. After venting it out in the same chamber himself, Vegeta has now managed to break out into not only full power Super Saiyan, but Super Saiyan 2. Now back on top, he keeps his cards close to his chest. He keeps things quiet, relatively speaking, before the fight with Cell, which is hotly anticipated, but doesn't go well for Goku since he doesn't know instant transmission. That leaves Vegeta to pick up the pieces and totally dominate Cell, not leaving a single trace behind. No biding of Cell's time in a larval state, or somehow hitching a ride on his clothes like we do in some of my other what-ifs. He's completely toast here. Vegeta left no quarter for this one. He wanted to right that wrong. As we gear up for the 7-year time skip, we have a very interesting situation here. With all 3 Super Saiyans present and accounted for, Trunks has obviously gone back to the future, of course, to do his thing there. Morale has never been higher. For the prince, that is. He is ruling the roost and can now dictate where the balance of power goes. He is aware that the Rune of Spirit and Time is a thing and can prove to be very useful even for his rivals. One day, he travels up to the lookout alone and talks to the newly minted guardian Dende. Well, I say talks to Dende, he basically is giving him an order. This is Vegeta basically ordering the Guardian of Earth around. He is now basically playing God. Sounds about right, doesn't it?
Look, I know you're new here, Pipsqueak, so I'll be soft with you.
He calls this soft?
That room of yours. Is there any way to get rid of that stupid time limit or something?
Dende mulls it over and says, well, there might be a way to do so, but it will require some time to do so. Now, this isn't me coming up with this on the fly, the idea of there being no time limit or anything. This is what happened in Super, if you remember, with the time chamber now being able to be used for how long as you want. You know, for that series, that was done out of convenience, of course, for the writers, because they were written into a corner. How are you going to make the people stronger really quickly? Oh, just get rid of the time limit, boom. Here, though, we're actually going to give it some kind of validity as to why there is no time limit anymore.
Very well. I'll bide my time. On one condition. You do not tell anyone else about this little arrangement of ours.
What? Why? It might be useful for everyone.
Exactly. I can't have anyone else getting stronger than me and undoing all of my good work. If you tell another person, I will destroy this chamber so that nobody can use it ever again. As well as you if you get in my way. Are we clear, Pipsqueak?
Dende, being new here and not wanting to be subject to Vegeta's bluster, is frantically accepting. Mr. Popo is aghast at this new Guardian being bossed around like this because he's a child. It's best not to make the situation worse, though. All he can do is console Dende afterwards. With Vegeta getting what he wants, he is now calling the shots. Now knowing he has the best ace in the hole to his reserve, he allows Goku and Gohan to train with him during the time skip. For the next few years, they continue to get stronger together, with Vegeta obviously overseeing how strong they get, and the two other Super Saiyans manage to unlock, on Vegeta's terms, Super Saiyan 2 eventually. But Vegeta is well ahead of that, having mastered it, basically. Was there another power above this one, though? A Super Saiyan 3, perhaps? He would have to figure that out on his own. In secret, obviously. He can't have anyone else knowing that this power could exist. 3 years after making his thoughts felt, he returns to the lookout to pressure Dende for an update. Sure enough, there had been progress. He had managed to succeed in removing the time limit for Vegeta and had not told anyone as instructed.
Good. Now I can figure out this problem in peace. Do not interrupt me. I do not need assistance.
He walks in without saying another word. All over the world, his power disappears, and the gang know exactly what that means. He is in the time chamber. But what is weird is that this remains the case for more than just one day. Vegeta had already used one. It goes on for 2, 3. Well, that's weird. Wasn't there supposed to be a time limit or something? King Kai, who had been quietly observing Vegeta's bullying tactics lately, cannot hold his silence any longer. Wanting to support his best pupil after all, he hadn't gotten sour with Goku for blowing his planet up because that obviously didn't happen. He communicates to Goku and tells him that Vegeta is hiding something from them, and he's not playing by the rules. And this angers Goku. Goku's always one for a fair fight, and for Vegeta to be deliberately changing the goalposts without him knowing it, being sneaky, this was sheer bad manners, and something he will not tolerate. A pocket of resentment is starting to form in the Saiyan's mind. It's very weird. What was once relatively pure and simple, carefree, it's starting to pickle and fester because of Vegeta's means of trying to deceive them. For now, though, he and Gohan need to come up with a plan. However, Chi-Chi already has one for Gohan lined up. School. It's time that their son go to a proper school. They had had their fun, and clearly there was no signs of any bad guys coming to destroy the world, so all of this training, this frivolous activity, must now cease for Gohan's future's sake. Goku has no choice but to comply, and despite Gohan resisting more than usual because he actually likes training with his father, he also realizes that his mother is right in a way. Earth had been quite peaceful, and they had no menaces coming their way, so you might as well make the most of the study in case they do show up. Because of this, Goku is starting to get a little bit more irked. That resentment starting to grow a little more. He calls up King Kai and asks him to help him get stronger, whatever he can do. First off, he could go to do what Vegeta did and go to Yardrat, do the training that he did. With his Super Saiyan power already there, his focus and improvements might be even bigger. Alright, I'm off to Yardrat then.
Okay. Goku? You feeling alright, buddy?
Never better, pal. I just have a plan and a score to settle.
This Goku's a little off. He wants to help him, sure, but King Kai's got a bad feeling about this. With Goku now off to Yardrat, the planet starts to settle down a bit from all of this ill feeling because the two main catalysts aren't there, obviously. When Vegeta exits the chamber, 4 days after he'd entered it, he had figured it out. And he then blows up the chamber out of frustration.
Blast it! What a waste of time!
He files off without so much as an apology to Dende and Mr. Popo, the two of them now panicking with the thought of having to rebuild their work. I mean, it was possible, it's happened before, because, you know, the Lookout, Garlic Jr., even though that doesn't really happen here, if you know what I mean. Still, that's not cool, Jeets. When he's flying back to Capsule Corp, he can't sense Goku anywhere. Where's he gone? When he gets back to Bulma, he finds out that Goku had skipped town. He'd taken his ship and headed off somewhere into space. He hadn't said where, just that he had to go and clear his head or whatever.
I'm surprised there was anything to clear inside that empty space.
Vegeta knows what Kakarot's up to, though. He couldn't handle the pressure of his power and so fled the planet to find a cheap fix. Where, though? He tries to sense Goku's energy out into space. When he finds him, is he off to Yardrat of all places? It sort of looks like it. He recognizes the trajectory. Right now, let's let him go. Even if he finds out how to get stronger, it won't amount to anything. He'd found out inside the chamber that Super Saiyan 3 power did exist, but it was utterly useless in the sense of a battle. Too much stamina drained, not enough of a gain to warrant it, and overall, it wasn't really a wise upgrade. Vegeta thusly chose to improve Super Saiyan 2 to the level of 3, or at least as close as possible, and so he wouldn't even need this new power.
Go ahead and run, Kakarot. I'll be waiting for you.
And wait, he did. We now jump forward to the 25th World Martial Arts Tournament, with of course some fun antics with the Great Saiyaman thrown in for good measure. Gohan had done some training between schooling and now, not as much as he would have liked of course, but he is now stronger than he was in the original arc, because Vegeta obviously wouldn't have allowed it any other way. Who else was going to give him a proper sparring session now Goku wasn't here anyway? The Triclops? The Surfer guy? Spare me. However, we have another visitor. After 4 years of absence, Goku returns from Yardrat in the ship that had taken him from Capsule Corp to Yardrat, and now he was back, ready to take Vegeta on at said tournament. He also then remembers that he had promised his toddler son, at the time of his departure, Goten, that he would bring something back from space, to prove that he'd actually gone there, and that he hadn't forgotten him. A Yardratian toy is plopped into the boy's hand, and he is stunned with the sheer alien feel of it. It's good enough. Videl and Gohan still meet up since the Great Saiyaman arc is still a thing, and the two of them hit it off, with Vegeta looming in the background, thinking that that won't amount to anything. He's sort of become Gohan's overseer in a way, not actively interfering or anything, but just watching. For now, that is. With Goku's return, the tournament is going to be exciting to see, that's for sure. Had Goku discovered Super Saiyan 3? Would he use it? All of this gets halted though, with the arrival of Spopovich and Yamu, and then ultimately Babidi. You know, the energy drain, that still happens, Gohan goes,
How dare you do that to Videl! You'll pay for this!
That whole thing. With the gang all after them, with Shin's guidance, they find Babidi's ship and they begin the descent down into the depths of the ship to then tackle the foes within. The order is somewhat changed a bit, with Goku going first against Pui Pui, a ploy of the Saiyans to illustrate his gains to the prince clearly, but the latter isn't impressed.
You didn't even power up to Super Saiyan, Kakarot. I could have done that. What did you do out in space? Learn to disappoint me? You're clearly a master at that.
Goku is now getting really annoyed, big time. King Kai communicates to Gohan, the only sane one here seemingly, taking a much more active role as well, because he's worried about Goku.
Watch out for him, Gohan! All this time out in space, it seriously messed with his head. I don't think he likes being bested by Vegeta.
This is weird. Normally Goku would be excited to have this kind of a challenge, someone stronger out there to spar with.
Yeah, I know. I trained the guy. I know what makes him tick. At least I thought I did. Vegeta's not playing by the rules. It's really gotten to him, so it seems. Just be careful, Gohan.
Gohan nods and promises to aid the situation as best he can. Gohan then takes on Yakon and does a similar tactic to what Goku did in the original, and overloads Yakon with energy to cause him to explode. Vegeta is somewhat more impressed by this with the boy's ingenuity.
Not bad, Gohan. You used your head and figured out the problem. Unlike your father here.
He jabs a look to Goku. He is sparking all over. The indignation and the unjustified slating. Why, Vegeta? Why? Now it's time for Goku to face Dabura, and this fight is pretty brutal. But Masako, wait, Vegeta doesn't get a turn. Yeah, I know that, because Vegeta lets him face Dabura. It's because he wants to see what this fool could really do, not just use bait against Pui Pui. He's generous like that.
I'll just stand here and clean up the mess when you clearly lose.
With this egging on, Goku is relentless. He tears apart Dabura pretty quickly, the Demon Lord having no answer to Goku's power, as well as his fury and tenacity. This is very unsettling to witness. Despite losing his minion to this Saiyan's power though, the wizard has an idea forming.
You know what? I can work with this inconvenience.
With that last fight done, Goku is brimming with adrenaline and feeling pumped.
Did you see that, Vegeta? I did get stronger! I beat him fair and square, unlike you!
Oh? Are you calling me a cheater, Kakarot? Why so sour?
I know you've been keeping things from us, trying to stay dominant through unfair means. I will show you when this is all over that way of life will get you nowhere.
I look forward to it. Looking forward to how much of a fool you will make of yourself when I beat you down.
Goku is sparking with anger again, and this is the moment to pounce. Babidi conjures all of his power and takes over Goku's mind. Suddenly, Goku is recoiling with pain, agony in his head. He had been jumped by Babidi's mind control in a moment of surprise. The Saiyan being distracted by his insane obsession with Vegeta's injustice and unfair tactics. It all results in the formation of a very sinister evil. Evil that had not been in place in this body since the days of the babe, before the bump on the head was a thing. We are now witnessing the birth of Majin Goku. And that's where we're going to be leaving things for right now. So what do you guys think? Will Vegeta have an answer to Majin Goku? Will Majin Goku have found Super Saiyan 3 to dominate over the Prince once and for all? Leave a comment below and let's get this discussion going. And I shall see you in the next video. Catch you later.